Welcome to Saturday Racing here at Laurel Park. I am Callie Ferrenta along with Dave Rodman. We get a little bit of a change-up. Dave, some interesting prices that we've had on these off-the-turf days so far. Do you see a couple more coming?
Yeah, and today off the turf and the main track rated fast, but a chill in the air, Callie. I know that thrills you.
But it's fall. It's autumn.
It reminds me that Maryland Million's around the corner, right?
That's exactly
that Maryland Million kind of weather, right?
It is. That is a great coinage to put it. It is Maryland Million kind of weather. We have two more in 2 Saturdays, that will be the Maryland Million that we have going on. Should be a nice roundup that we have there, but we're a couple Saturdays ahead of that, so let's go ahead and kick on to this first race that we have here, this claiming 10,000, which have never won 2 for 7 furlongs on the dirt. Dave, you land on the number 4, Red, White, and Tacos. Love that name for Damon Dilojovico and J-Ron Barbosa.
Yeah, I think it could have been a flip here, the 4 or the 6, the 6 or the 4. They're the two principals in the race. I went with Red, White, and Tacos after a couple of turf experiments, coming back to the main track, coming back to a sprint distance here, and I think they're giving her best chance. So they found out maybe her best game is dirt and sprinting, perhaps 6, 7 furlongs. Today's race at 7 furlongs. Out of those 2 turf races, a little bit tougher. She didn't really like it. She ran okay. Kind of loomed a little bit in one of them, but back to the dirt. She's the one with J-Ron Barbosa. Let's take a look at Lady. Now you can say it. Say it.
Well, we have a video on the number 6. Lady Whistledown.
Now this apparently is a character, right? In the Netflix series?
Yes, big Netflix series. But we're taking a look at this nice Pimlico run here a couple races back in the 16th of September. Just took a nice front running approach, a nice confident approach. She gets an outside post today. I see that's how she's going to play it here today.
Yeah, this is going to be her best asset. She may be a little quicker early than Red, White, and Tacos. We'll see. Barbosa, though, has been known to be a little more aggressive, get him right into the race. After that race, you saw a video. She came back and ran kind of a disappointing 9th and a non-winner's a 2, but that was with a week's rest, right? They ran her back really, really super quick there. Now she's had a little bit of rest since September 24th at Lacey Gaudet Barn. So I'm going to draw a line through that last race. So you look at her 3 races, you know. I mean, she fits right in there with her speed figures and especially given her tactical early speed. So 4 and the 5, I mean, I think 4 and the 6 rather.
4 and the 6.
I think you probably need to use them both there if you're playing that early pick 5 or playing the double. Underneath maybe the 2, it's Martha Rita, who ran in the speedy class, dropping Sensun last time out. And if then the Ham-Smith Barn on a roll right now, they're doing quite well here at Laurel Park. A 3rd to market of stocks at Timonium, though kind of a non-threatening 3rd. She's probably going to be a little farther back than any of the top 2 horses I like it here, the 4 or the 6. But if they go crazy up front, I don't anticipate that. If then could close for a piece of the action.
I go underneath with Kobe's Girl. I like it when Mario Surra gives these horses a little bit of time, and when I see one, I have to go with that horse underneath. But Dave, you mentioned the early pick 4 just a couple of seconds ago, but race number 2 starts the early pick 4, and you brought up a ticket for us. How do you play it?
Oh, hey, I'm taking your cue here. Look at that, $16 measly, Callie, right?
El Cheapo, as Keith
on the
Fustel
thrifty
says.
budget there. 210 in the second race. Now that the race is off the turf to the main track, I really kind of like the 10 in there, and that's going to be my top pick, but kind of protecting a little bit with a 2. The 3rd race on the program, I thought a little more difficult because you have some good form turf horses coming to sprints on the dirt here. A little tricky in there, but I went with the Trombettas, both the 1 and the 3. In the 4th race, I'm going with horses with some experience there. In the 4 and the 5, Hang the Moon and Grace and Charm over the first-time starters. And the 5th race, I think the wide open possible price in here is I Have Courage, number 8, but using the 2, 3, and 4. That race a little more open, I think, of the 4, the most open of the 4, so I'm going to spread to the 4 picks in that spot for a $16.50 ticket.
El Cheapo, as Keith would like to say, but it's a decent ticket. I like how it starts off, and there is a chance to go wide and get a little bit of money for that. Dave's ticket at $16 starts you off, but in race number 2, in this maiden 20, taken off of the turf, now we're 5.5 here on the dirt. You land on the number 10 Jebster for, David Howard. Angel Cruz with the blinkers on this time.
Yeah, I last time I think I was on the show with you when Katie's Notion won that sloppy track day, and I talked about Jebster a little bit there, who was out of a double key race at Charlestown. A little time off, comes back from November of 21 to the last race October 2nd here, just 6 days ago, and pretty much lost all chance on a kind of a speed favoring track. Was down inside, bounced around, had to check at the 3/8, lost all position, and then didn't threaten from there. Today,
right.
A fast track, second back after the layoff, short rest, and adding the blinkers. I think you'll see a different Jebster today, number 10 in the second race. Now that it's off the turf, don't know what kind of price you're going to get. Certainly not the 12 that it was lined for the grass, for sure. Number 2, Syncopated, also going to use in that race. A little fearful of that horse. Another horse getting blinkers on. Fourth, 2 back behind Cupid's Dart, who came back after that win at Timonium to run a pretty good number at Parks, ran a 62 buyer number. That would stack up here, adding the blinkers. If he can run a little bit better, perhaps to the 60-ish level in the spot, upper 50s, can get the job done. He's probably going to show some early aggressive speed there to the inside. Syncopated.
Syncopated, I have underneath, just with the blinkers on, adding a little bit of pizzazz. I think just this one had some early goings, made some early moves going, stretching out at that route, shortening up, putting the blinkers on. Let's get this horse in the right going. But I go with the 9 Born for Victory underneath for Claudio Gonzalez. William Humphrey didn't have that bumping in the start. I took a look at it, and it wasn't enough for me to give enough of a good excuse, but I think Claudio Gonzalez is always a little bit better second start. But then these horses coming from Monmouth here to Maryland have been running pretty well, so I think it's a light 2-1. I think 2-1 is a bit generous for Born to Victory, but again, we'll have to see how that shakes up. Addie's Laddie TNT for Henry Walters that I have underneath. You have underneath as well, Dave with J-Ron Barbosa. This one, we have a couple of horses that might be a speed factor. This one might be, but ever since coming out of that Charlestown race, hasn't been able to really pick up his feet, so we'll have to see how that goes out of that outside 12 post. Did you have any other thoughts?
Well, just the fact that your top pick, the Claudio Barn, has got a little slow start here at Laurel Park,
right,
though they're having a good last 30 to 60 days when you include all the Monmouth runners in there. Second time stat for Claudio is always strong. You see with a positive ROI. Second out. You're right. He could improve second out big time.
This horse probably will. We'll see what happens, though, in the second race. Number 3, this Claiming 25, never win 2 for 6 furlongs here on the dirt. Dave, you go with the number 3, which is your best bet of the day. Vote them all out for Mike Trombetta. J-Ron Barbosa gets the call from Victor Carrasco, taking quite a bit of a different approach with this gelding.
Well, he's been on turf in all 5 starts, but the way he's been working on the dirt track, you would think that he's going to like it, right? Yep. And I think he fits the bill here. He's going to come right off the pace there. If he can close a little bit here on the dirt, he's run against some good horses like That's Right at Pimlico, who broke the maiden, has gone on to win a few, including stakes up at Monmouth. The 90 buyer on the turf is a 4-time winner now. Heaven's Got Fire, 76 buyer type. He's run against Wish Me Home, I believe from the Phil Schoenthal barn, who's kind of an upper 70s buyer on the grass. I think he's going to fit okay on the dirt. I mean, he's consistently solid morning works on the dirt and on the synthetic, I believe, point in his direction in this spot with a drop in for $25,000.
For $25,000. I go with the 2 on top, Flaming East for Lacey Gaudet, breaking that maiden score last time out, but that was back in June, and we do have Lacey Gaudet, who's industry average 13% first after the layoff, so I am giving this one a shot. I do like that 47-8, and then work on September 18th, and then a nice maintenance work on September 25th with a little bit of hold at 51-4 there. But Dave, you also go with the number 5 underneath. It's over for Claudio Gonzalez and J.D. Acosta,
who was beaten when he was claimed in Monmouth into the Claudio Gonzalez barn by a Claudio horse,
Yes.
Rominski. So, you know, I think they had the eye on the sky here. He's jumping up after the claim, always a good sign. I'm just think I only see one race in the form that really entices me about him. That's back in June. Other than that, he's been pretty inconsistent, right? So, 1 for 13. I'm going to go with a horse maybe trying something new here, the dirt. Vote them all out as the BB of the day. Your top pick there, number 2, Flaming East. I see something I like in their running lines there. You see the horse Burks.
Yes.
We'll talk about him later today in a solid race later on the card. Only beaten 5 lengths by Burks, and then pop that maiden score with an improving number.
3-5-1-2 for Dave. 2-1-5-3 in that third race. Race number 4 starts the Rainbow Pick 6. We do have a carryover of just over $3,200, and I have a ticket that I started up for you. And in race number 4 and 5, I go double on that. Race number 6, I go 3 ride. Race number 7. Now that is a bit of an interesting, I think that's a bit of an interesting sprint that's going to pop up, so I go a bit wide with all 4 of my picks. On top of that, my single of the day is that ship in from, Jeffrey Engelhardt, Greeley and Ben, which we will have a video on that horse later, and race number 9. That it's an off the turf event, but it's still competitive for the 16 as far as the whole field goes, but a nice $38.40 ticket to get you going. But back to this race number 4. This is a maiden special weight, 7 furlongs here on the dirt. Dave, you land on the number 4, Hang the Moon for Mike Stidham with the blinkers on, and J-Ron Barbosa on as well.
A couple of fillies coming into this race with experience going 7 furlongs. Hang the Moon, Grayson Charm, both second time out. It went Hang the Moon on top. Uncle Mo, 18% with the 2-year-olds. First time blinkers, and going back to look at that race at Colonial, the opening quarter mile was 21-4. I thought pretty sharp for that opening quarter. Better than a 10-time winner on the dirt, same card on the dirt at Colonial that same day. But she's kind of like a subtle blinkers on horse, Collie. Head-on shot kind of showed her breaking okay, settling inside, but it seemed like once she got kind of behind the filly, she like a little intimidated maybe. Didn't really finish strongly or gallop out, but I think the blinkers might do the trick today, and come back with a couple of works. That Fairhill, one on the synthetic, one on the dirt, probably with blinkers, and attracting Barbosa there for the first time. And Grayson Charm, I think we have some video of her too. This is her second out, and she really got a good learning experience. So you see Circle breaking from the 3-hole, and that would be in the blue colors down the backstretch. They kind of outkicked her early on this very sloppy going over an old hilltop. Settled was in a good spot, right? You'd think that's great. The speed's going on up front. But, boom, here comes this winner on the outside who was a first-time starter, I think on the red sleeves on the extreme outside of her from New York, a first-time starter for the Charlie Baker barn. That was really something special that day. So she just kind of even-paced it through the stretch. But I thought, you know, kept her ground with that first-time starter. You see drawing away there, Malibu Moonshine, a debut sweeper on the far outside, was actually favored in the race and took a lot of money. So fast track, second out, little experience there. Not a bad effort from Grayson Charm. A half-sister to Threes Over Deuces.
There we go.
I'm remember like the pheasant Tipton sale. Half-sister to Threes Over Deuces. All right.
That was pretty good. You tried. You tried. In addition to that, Grayson Charm is an accelerate who's not particularly strong on a wet dirt, so I think it was more the off track that had to do with anything with Grayson Charm. So I gave her a little bit of an excuse last time out specifically for that. So I end up with her on top, and then we both have the number 3 Pep Rally for Kelly Breen underneath Charlie Marquez. Some nice flashy works coming in here up from Monmouth Park, especially that 5 furlong out of the gate, Dave.
More spirit. 18% 2-year-old first-time starters.
We got spirit. How about you?
That's one end of the pendulum here. The other side, the dam and the second dam, all turf. And she's starting on the turf. So you've got a lot of dirt breeding top, turf breeding on the bottom. Kelly Breen says, I'll start her on the dirt at 7 furlongs here at Laurel. So there's positives for the dirt. for the more spirit side, but it looks like I think she's going to be a pretty nice filly on the turf when they finally get her there. Bullet Works going to attract a lot of attention here from the Kelly Breen barn with a first-time starter winning at 19% with his firsters in that sample, according to Daily Racing Form.
I think, especially with those Bullet Works, I think she's just going to be sharp. This filly is going to be sharper than a typical, I wouldn't be surprised if this filly lands on top, to be quite honest, but you also use the number 1, 5 Command 2 underneath, but let's go ahead and kick on to race number 5. This maiden claiming 20 for the girls. 5.5 here on the dirt as intended. You land on the number 8. I Have Courage for Charlie Frog and Angel Cruz. Needs slowly but surely getting a bit on the improve from the half mile to the 3/4.
Well, Keith is not here today, but
there we go. Thanks
to Keith, the wake-up call. I know if he was here, he'd pick I Have Courage on top, who was scratched a little while back, a couple weeks ago, for maiden 12.5. Now they put her in for maiden 20, getting Lasix for the first time, but she's really certainly a trip horse. That race at Pimlico September 10th was slammed on both sides at the start. Rough start rally is the comment. She really motored on home well and galloped out okay. So hoping for a clean trip today for I Have Courage, who gets Angel Cruz in the saddle. But the race a little more wide open, I think, than that. The 2 Tilted Tiara, and good natural early speed. Fishers came out of her last race to win. Again, Claudia looking to get untracked here. Tilted Tiara. Number 3, the Haunted Room is an interesting turn back off the turf to the dirt, adding blinkers there for the first time. Her head carriage, I thought, in that race last back suggests she might benefit from blinkers. Blinkers on Justin Nixon, just a small stat, 2 out of 9, 22% and a positive ROI. Probably could have used that as a stat of the day, but it was such a small sample, but it's still good.
I use those small samples all the time, so it's fine. And I hopped on this filly. I was on this filly yesterday, and the blinkers were on her, and she is ready to roll. Those blinkers are definitely going to sharpen this filly up. She's moving well on the dirt, so that supports the Justin Nixon turf to dirt factor. You get a track jockey, Sheldon Russell, and again, I think the blinkers on are really the biggest kick for this filly. She's nice and sharp and ready to go. But let's go ahead to this 6th race, this claiming 5,000. Before we do that, we're going to have a quick commercial break. We will be right back to talk about this mile dirt race for the 3-year-olds and up.
When it comes to getting back in the game, there's only one team to turn to. The team more high school, collegiate, and professional athletes train and recover with. That team is MedStar Sports Medicine. For more than 30 years, MedStar has served as a leader in the diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation of orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Ranked among the top programs in the Maryland and Washington regions, we offer rapid access to athletes of all levels. Let the pros who treat the pros treat you. MedStar Sports Medicine.
This nice little claiming 5,000 brings a price play from Dave Rodman in the number 7 Sheriff Chip for Amanda Rawlings, Angel Cruz. This is a claim back that Amanda has this horse back in her barn.
Yeah, this horse fired well off the layoff, October 20 to April 2021, with a 14-length score in the mud, sprinting at Pimlico. You see a race there, last win on the form back December, again in the mud. We have a fast track today, but I'm not going to let that deter me. A good trip off of the duel up front with a big sweeping move, and I think this 1 turn a mile, freshening off the time away, is going to do the trick here for Sheriff Chip, who's got a little bit of talent, but maybe just kind of lightly raced, has had some spacing between races as a 5-year-old. So fired off the layoff before, fits to me, speed figure-wise and class-wise of this group, going the mile. It's a 1-turn mile, and which I think is even to be a little bit better for Sheriff Chip, because he can settle if he wants, or if he wants to flash that early speed, he can be right on the pace. And if he does settle, he's got a long way home, more than a 1/4 mile home, to grind it out to the second wire finish.
Absolutely. For me, it's the claim back that really does it for me, especially in a barn like Amanda Rawlings. But I go with the number 1 you have underneath, Silica Mike, for Claudia Gonzalez, William Humphrey, getting the chance here back at Monmouth last time out at the similar level. Attracted Dylan Davis still for the $5,000 race, so that perked my interest up as well. And that was a good effort last time out. And then you just have this Claudio first after the claim, and this Monmouth to Laurel that is very close to 30% as of lately.
Toledo had a hot hand this week, right? We'll talk about him later, Jevion Toledo. He's got the mount on 10 Miracle Silver. Got some video of that horse from Monmouth. A last race, September 2nd. It was a mile and a 16th race, 2 turns there at Monmouth, I believe. Am I looking at the right horse?
Looks like it looks like Laurel. That's Laurel Park. That's over at Laurel Park in that.
Could I have messed up again?
It's okay.
Can I? Yeah. So in any case, no, it is Monmouth. There you go.
There we go.
All right. So there is down Miracle Silver heading into the stretch. Had a little bit of trouble in the first turn in the fact that he was rank and pulling. And here down the stretch at the 8th pole, it looks like he's not even going to be second, right?
Right.
Watch this. Watch this little surge.
He puts in a nice little surge,
Boom.
Just a really nice little finish. This horse has plenty of heart. Javian Toledo, I think, is going to put in a nice ride on this one. Jose, he's only had in the past 365 days only 4 entries at Laurel Park, but has gone 1, 2, 3 in those. So 75% in the money for D'Angelo here in Maryland.
All right, yeah, so Miracle Silver, I think maybe really kind of the horse to beat here, but I've been going a little bit of a price there with the Sheriff Chip as the price play of the day. Cecilia Mike, again, Claudio Gonzalez on the inside there, and the 11 Dashing Lou, who may have moved a little too soon last time out.
Agreed.
And coming back to the 1-turn mile. Barbosa goes back here for the Gary Capuano barn.
Winning at the mile once previously out of 5 tries should help it out, but again, I think it's just will get a little bit of a better setup today. But let's go ahead to race number 7. This allowance 6 furlongs here on the dirt. Dave, you land on the number 3. Al loves Josie, who is in better, gearing up to be in really better form. A wonderful performance on the slop last time out at Pimlico.
Well, the Wolfman comes out of the race number 6, and that's kind of a key scratch. Just ran last week, and in handicapping the race, 48, 72 hours ago, it was a real head scratcher. It kind of still is, but I'm banking on Al loves Josie to be the speed of the speed. He was second last time out to Back in the Woods, third next out in the Chaladon to factor it in. So that catches your attention right away. He was a beaten favorite that race. I'm looking for X-Man to be aggressive out of the starting gate. I think if they use his early speed, he's going to be the one to beat. And I think they will, because that's his MO, right? Look at his fractions. He's always right there, usually up top or on the chase. And even if he does chase, they got a little bit of grit and grind to him, right? He's run against Burks and Rominski before. He's beaten Burks before. Rominski beat him several races back last year when he was a 2-year-old here at Laurel Park. But he likes Laurel. 3 for 9 over this track, a 2nd and 2/3. I'm going with the Al loves Josie in the 7th race. The 4, Rominski. I've got some video here. Rominski from Monmouth, September the 18th. Claudio drops him in for 16 non-winners at 2. Granted, it was an easier field, but let's watch his move around the turn. There he is, the red shadow roll, red cap, red sleeves, right off the duel. A big sweeping move. That's the Rominski that I was hoping that would show up against Mo Money, Mo Honey, August 14th at Laurel Park, but did not. And then Claudio drops him in today. He comes back as a first-time gelding. So maybe he's worth a little more than that 16. Claudio thinks so. He's putting him in some tough company. There's plenty of speed in here. And if he can make that little move again like he did last time out, might be a good price play as well, Rominski.
The first-time gelding might hit pretty well for Rominski, and jumping up in class. Certainly an intriguing go. I like that you have him underneath. I go with, of course, we talked about Burks already. I had him in my top selection. This horse is just ever so consistent. It can be a bit of the need the lead type, but he does have some tactical ability, as you saw back in May at Pimlico when he broke his maiden. Just this horse has been in consistent form. He's going to be finishing no matter what here today.
Yeah, he's got some early speed. Is he as fast as Al loves Josie, or fast enough to press him in any manner? He beat Manolito and Friar Tuck, I thought, a little bit lesser level last time out, September 24th at Pimlico, but he's got some improving numbers. And right, he's only 3. He's got a lot to go, and the Ness barn, never leave him out, right? So Burks, Barbosa, Ness.
Never leave out a nest.
And I put him in the pick.
Yeah, never leave out a nest. 3-4-1-5 for Dave Rodman, 5-3, 10-7 for me. Race number 8, we get to our feature race, and this allowance optional claiming 55, 6 furlongs here on the dirt. And Dave, we both land on the number 4, and we've got a video on Greeley and Bend for Jeffrey Engelhardt. Victor Carrasco takes a stab at this one, ran for 40 back at Saratoga.
Yeah, this is Saratoga. He wins by a neck in this race. Prominent speed throughout. Through 45 2.5 mile there up at the Spa. Claimed out of that into the Jeffrey Engelhardt barn. He had to work for it, but he worked against some good horses. Happy Farm, Veteran Big Engine in the race. He didn't want to lose, did he? There he is. And obviously, looking at that video, then looking at his career record, you can see why he toughed it out. 21 wins now from 35 lifetime starts. 8-year-old Jeffrey Engelhardt claimed him out last race for a big price there, $40,000. Off the claim in the last year, on fire, 14 for 54, 26%, and a positive ROI. But can he beat the headline horse? And that would be the Gotham winner, Morello.
And so this is Morello having a little bit of a break, and I have this horse on top. I wanted to go for a little bit of a price, noticing that this horse is getting this inside post really for the first time in his career. So that's my biggest question: is if this horse can handle some outside pressure. And I'm looking back at that effort in the win. It just back in Belmont was on the inside in the turn and then tried to go for the 2-path, but just that was a bit much for him. That was a grade 1. That was a bit much for him. Let's just see. They're bringing him back off of a little bit of a layoff. I'm assuming he just needed a little bit of a break from that. But some nice works leading up to this, including the September 16th work over at the Belmont Training Track, 59-3.
Back against older horses too, right? So this is going to be a real test for Morello and to come back against seasoned veterans. How about Mojovation? I made him best bet last time out, and the entire Maryland racing scene sent me hate mail about that, right? Picking against Mo Money. No, I'm just kidding, but I just thought I'd take a shot there. But he was a good third, I thought, to Mo Money, and claimed out of that race in the Ferris Allen barn. So if the pace is hot, he's got that good kick. He's won here before. 2 starts here at Laurel and a victory as well. He's got some back numbers there that would certainly fit if he's up to close to 100%.
Definitely, and we both have the 2 and the 5 underneath for fun. But race number 9 is our nightcap of claiming 16. Never won 3 a mile here on the dirt, originally on the turf, and we have a couple of scratches. We have the scratch of the 1, the 5, the 6, the 9, the 11, the 12, the 13, and a late scratch of the 3 and the 7. So Dave, that leaves you on the number 14 Galatians with Mary Epler. Walter Rodriguez takes a stab at this one.
He's solid. He's consistent. He usually winds up second and third, but I think the second off the layoff's going to do a trick against this field in for the 16 tag. He's had 1 race this year, but he's looking at his race, his final race of 2021, where he's behind the Angry Man and Yes Sir Colonel. That race would certainly do here. Can he carry through with it? It is Horatio Karma, as you mentioned, for Walter Rodriguez. Goes to Mary Epler goes to Horatio here. Always been one of the veteran riders for that barn. And so I kind of like that move. The 15, Virginia Fuller, don't underestimate him. I mean, he beat a non-winners at 2 at Pimlico on a sloppy track with a good final 3/8 of a mile kick, and then came back and verified that with a 6-1 victory. And today another step up. Daniel McKenzie's found the key to this horse, and he also at Pimlico on that sloppy track September 11th closed from off the pace, 11 off the pace to win by 5 going away against what was a speed favoring track. So this 1-turn mile, the long run of the second wire, he's got time to start his move just before the quarter pole and keep on rolling. So he's going to be an interesting horse in this spot to see if he can step up. I think he can today. I'm going to have to use him in the late double, the late pick 5, everything if you're playing there.
I like that. I like that, Dave. I go with the 16 Hartness. You have underneath with Jamie Ness. J. Ron Barbosa needs. I like the bug move for this one, and this one. not so great as an individual overall when he does come first off of the layoff. So I'm going to give him a little bit of an excuse for that. This is a horse that's probably going to be setting your speed here today, especially as I said, with that weight off. He's going to be in that front running trip. Jamie Ness hasn't been doing great from Delaware to Laurel, but I think, again, I'm bringing this horse up as an individual where he's able to go well a second off of a little bit of a layoff.
Yeah, well, these off the turf races, a situation like this, I found this race a little bit difficult.
Right.
To me, kind of a spread, 14, 15. I could even see the 16 and the 10. A lot of respect for the Dale Capuano barn. This gelding is pretty consistent, but he couldn't run down a solo lick in there August 21st in Million, who went gate to wire in slow fractions. Maybe coming back to the one turn will be the trick here, and coming back to Laurel. His best lick recently he's been at Laurel going 7/8 of a mile with a decent 60 buyer number, though it was against the non-winners of 2 and would appear to be a field of more closers than anything else.
Well, we'll find out what happens in race number 9. That's coming up soon. But let's take a couple of seconds to talk about what happened yesterday. Team Brittany Russell had a nice event in the 6th race yesterday as regular rider Eric Camacho gets back in the saddle, wins back in the saddle in a year, but one ride and one win, and he's back to work that morning. But post time was intended to run, whether it was on the turf or on the dirt. Eric can handle this horse pretty well. This horse does have a little bit of a reputation, but Eric, go on with it, Eric. It was good to see him back in winning ways again.
We saw that reputation in the post parade. He showed us his hooves. Then he was a little squirrely, a little fractious, but Eric knows him, settled him down, and going to the gate, I thought he was relatively relaxed, right? And then on the turn, started that rally. He's a little bit green, I guess, so that's why he got him to the outside, out in the clear, no dirt in his face, started that rally and rolled on. Still tried to look around a little bit, maybe a little lugging, shifting in a bit, in the stretch, not lugging in, but he's got a big future ahead of him, I think. I don't know what that number came up. I'll try to look it up here in a second.
Try and look it up, but when talking to Camacho about it, this one, beforehand, before the race, he said, as long as I can get this, I just need to get this horse to the gate because he's going to try everything at the gate. He's the type where if you, whatever, and I was talking about this with Brittany Russell as well, he just has that type of personality where if you put something in front of him, he's just going to try and play it with whatever he can that's in front of him. And then talking with Eric this morning, running into him, he said, this horse, he was playing up a little bit in the paddock. Just go ahead, get the kicks out, get the coltish kicks out, and then he settled down pretty well.
And
have you gotten anything yet, Dave?
The answer is 70. That's
70.
Pretty decent, right? Considering the way he finished too, and the time, a minute 4.26, stacked up well against a little older type horse later in the day. So the 70 buyer for post time.
70 buyer for post time. I have a feeling we're going to get to see even more improvement for post time in his future career, but best of luck to both of those, and a nice Russell team victory for everybody. Wanted to highlight that we have some Mondays coming up. We have 3 Thursdays moved to Monday in November. Program scheduled for November 3rd, 10, and 17 will now move to November 7th, November 14th, and 21 respectively. As usual, there will be live racing Thursday. The original plan included October as well, but logistically the 4 programs could not be switched in time. MJC acting president Mike Rogers said he wants to see whether pari-mutuel handle grows on Mondays when Parks Racing offers live racing, and there are a few overall signals. So
yeah, that'll be a good balance, Parks and Maryland together on Mondays. So make that adjustment to your calendar.
Make that adjustment to your calendar. Let's see what happens. But Toledo gave us a nice show yesterday, winning races 1, 2, and 5, I believe. I loved the ride that he put on the Farrier horse in race number 5 on Red Queen. We'll see that in a bit. We see him winning for Jane Sabelli right now. This next clip that we have coming up, he's winning for Michael Stidham. That one was a first-time blinkers, I think, as well. But that was excuse me.
First-time starter there,
yeah. First-time starter.
That horse has a little bit of talent. I mean,
does.
He really didn't ask him all the way on the turn, and then drew off there. We don't know what kind of beat behind him, and he came up with a good run.
Javian Toledo, we're seeing he put a nice ride on the backside actually with Red Queen. It really helped himself out there. So really, really astute ride that I like. But Dave, In lieu of Keith Fusel, we've got your best bet and value play, price play today. What do you got? I think your best bet is in race number 3, correct? Yes.
Yeah, this is not an election statement. Vote them all out. And number 3 in the 3rd race. Don't want to get political, but we do want to get a ticket cashed, and we're going to go for a turf to dirt angle here, hoping he can close. He's working okay on the dirt. It's been working okay on the synthetic. I think he can handle this turn back on the dirt here today at Laurel Park.
Race number 6, I believe, is your price play of the day. Sheriff Chip, the number 7, going. That's an overall interesting race in general.
Yeah, going that 1 turn a mile. The horses run well off the layoff before. We've seen his blazing speed going 2 turns if he wants to try to open a little bit, but my guess is he'll just try to settle him early and get that 1 kick home down the stretch. Hope he's fit, hope he's right, because his best race certainly fits in the 6th race for a nice little price.
Let's see if we can get Dave's nice little price happen today, but we're going to be right back with this guy for changes and scratches. Thank you very much.
Good luck.